Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring something right at the edge of AI research, autonomous data science agents. And we're going to focus specifically on one model, DeepAnalyze 8B. Our mission here is, well, straightforward. We want to quickly unpack the actual findings from two very different case studies this agent tackled. First, some really complex financial analysis, and then a switch over to biological data. See how it handles that whole end-to-end data science job.
Right, and that end-to-end capability is key. The sources identified DeepAnalyze 8B as the first agentic LLM shown to automate the entire workflow. We're talking from raw data all the way to essentially analyst-grade reports. And the striking part, it does all this with just 8 billion parameters.
8 billion. That does sound lean for something claiming full autonomy. So when we say autonomy here, it's more than just, spitting out some Python code, right? What capabilities does it really need to run these complex jobs without constant human guidance?
Fundamentally, it needs two core things: autonomous orchestration and adaptive optimization. Think of orchestration as managing the project. It plans out the steps, figures out the sequence needed for the analysis. Then adaptive optimization is more about learning on the fly. It runs code, looks at the output, sees if it worked, or maybe if it got an error, and then it adjusts its approach based on that feedback. It can self-correct, kind of like a human analyst would when things don't go as planned initially.
Okay, that makes sense. Orchestration is the plan, optimization is fixing it as you go. So if it's doing all this planning and executing, what are the actual commands or actions it uses to interact? The sources mention 5 specific ones.
Yes, these 5 actions sort of define its operational loop. First is analyze. That's the thinking part, planning, reasoning about the problem, reflecting on what it's done so far. Second, understand. This is crucial for getting a handle on structured data. Like figuring out what's in a database or a document before you query it.
Right, understanding the layout before diving in.
Then comes code. Pretty self-explanatory. It generates the Python code it needs. After that, execute. This is where it actually runs the code against the data or environment and gets the results back or feedback. And finally, answer. This is the action it uses to actually generate the final report or the solution it was asked for.
And the training method for this was interesting too, not just feeding it tons of data, but this curriculum-based approach.
That's right. The training was deliberately structured. It started with simpler skills, single actions almost. Then it gradually moved to more complex tasks that required combining those skills, integrating them. The idea was to mimic how a human data scientist learns foundations first, then complex projects.
Okay, let's see how that training played out. Let's move to case study 1, this deep dive into payment processing fees. Sounds like a real test of handling complexity. What kind of data was the agent actually looking at here?
It was a significant data set, 1,000 distinct fee rules. And the complexity came from all the variables involved.
Yeah.
Things like 769 different merchant category codes, the type of business, plus 4 card schemes, Visa, MasterCard, etc., and 6 authorization characteristics indicators. So lots of conditions.
Not just a simple table then.
Right.
So when the agent analyzed these rules, what did it find about their complexity? There was a specific metric mentioned.
Yeah, the rule complexity. It found the rules were, well, quite intricate. The mean complexity was 8.72 parameters per rule. That means, on average, nearly 9 different factors had to be checked just to apply one fee rule correctly. And some rules were even worse, incorporating up to, I think it was 15 different characteristics. It shows you how hard it could be to figure out fees manually.
15 parameters for one rule. Wow. Okay, I'm breaking that down further. What parts of the data, the parameters, added the most variation, the diversity metrics?
The merchant category codes, the MCCs, showed the highest diversity. 49 distinct values were found there. Which kind of makes sense, right? Fees often really depend on the business type. The authorization characteristics indicators, or ACIs, had moderate diversity, 6 values, and card schemes also moderate, with the 4 major networks.
So MCC is driving a lot of the differentiation. Did the agent find connections between these parameters? Any strong correlations?
It did. It looked for patterns that create different pricing segments. The strongest link it found was between account type and credit transactions. The correlation value R was reported as 327. That's very high. The second was card scheme and account type, R196, and third, card scheme and credit transactions, R132.
An R value of 327. That sounds incredibly high, especially compared to what you might see in, say, biological data. What does that signify here?
Well, in a structured system like finance or regulations, a correlation that high often means it's not just a tendency, it's practically a deterministic rule. It signals a very strong, almost coded interdependence. If you have this account type and that transaction type, The fee structure is essentially locked in.
Right.
It's identifying the rigid logic of the system.
Okay, so it's finding the hard-coded rules within the complexity. After figuring out the complexity and correlations, what did DeepAnalyze actually determine about how the fees are calculated, the basic mechanics?
It identified the core formula. The fee is calculated as a fixed amount plus a variable part, which is a rate times the transaction value, then divided by 10,000.
Right, the basis points calculation.
And it pinned down the ranges for those components. The fixed amount was pretty small, between 0.01 and 0.21, but the rate varied quite a bit more, from 1 up to 190 basis points. Remember, basis point is just 1/100th of a percent.
So putting that all together, did it calculate an average fee example?
Yes. Based on its analysis of all those rules and parameters, it calculated that the average fee for a standard 100 transaction worked out to be 1.42. Just getting that single number required understanding all that complex conditional logic first.
That's a solid piece of analysis from an 8B parameter model. Okay, let's completely switch gears now. Case study 2, penguins. From intricate financial rules to, well, analyzing penguin data from the Palmer Archipelago, this seems designed to test its flexibility.
It definitely tests versatility. And interestingly, one of the main challenges here was right at the start with the data prep. The agent was given 2 separate files, penguinsalter.csv and penguinsize.csv.
And the problem was?
The sources state explicitly they had no common columns, no shared ID or key to easily link them. Yet the agent managed to figure out how to clean them, prepare them, and merge them logically. It synthesized that link itself. The result was a single, clean data set with 344 complete records ready for analysis. That autonomous data prep, especially merging non-obviously related data, is a big deal.
Okay, so it overcame the data hurdle. Once it had the clean data, what specific findings did it pull out about the penguin's physical characteristics? By species.
It reported some distinct traits. For Gen 2 penguins, it found they had the largest average body mass, about 5,000 grams. For Adelie penguins, the average body mass was lower, around 3,750 grams, and it noted their average culmen length was 39.1 millimeters.
The culmen being the ridge on the beak, right?
That's right, a standard measurement in ornithology.
And what about the chinstrap penguins? Any specific call-out for them?
For chinstraps, it highlighted their average culmen depth, 18.7 millimeters. So different beak dimension emphasized there. It shows it can extract these specific biological variables accurately.
And beyond the individual species stats, did it find any general relationships in the measurements across all the penguins?
Yes, it confirmed a known biological relationship. A strong positive correlation between bill length and flipper length. The correlation value reported was R.82. Notice how different that is from the R to 3 to a 7 in the financial case.
Still strong, but reflects natural biology, not rigid rules.
Precisely. An R of 0.82 in biology is considered a very strong link, showing these traits tend to increase together across the population, likely due to shared growth factors or functional needs. It reflects biological patterns, not financial regulations. So looking at both studies together, you really see the breadth of what this agent could handle. It navigated the very structured, parameter-heavy world of finance, finding correlations in complex roles, and then it pivoted to biological data, cleaning messy sources, synthesizing connections, and extracting meaningful biological correlations. It demonstrates that end-to-end autonomous data science pipeline is becoming feasible across different domains.
And that leads us to the final thought for you, the listener, to ponder. DeepAnalyze the agent model, the code behind it, and even the training data, that huge data science instruct 500K data set. It's all open source. It's out there for anyone to access and build upon. So the foundation for this kind of autonomous data science isn't locked away. It's available to the whole community. What happens next is really up for grabs.